Welcome into the betPARX pregame show presented by Lehocky. I'm Marc Farzetta along with Seth Joyner and Derrick Gunn. We're getting you ready ahead of Eagles, Commanders. Eagles can clinch the NFC East. That's right, lock up the division with a win or a tie against the Commanders today. They sit at 12-2 heading into this game, while the Commanders sit at 9-5. So much to get into during the pregame show today, including setting the table with the drama. That's right, even more drama that has taken place throughout the week surrounding your Philadelphia Eagles, while two members of the Eagles locker room, including head coach Nick Sirianni, vows to stay boring and keep the main thing, yes, the main thing, and that is winning. But before we really jump into everything with this Christmas week, I'd like to just point out, I'm sure Derrick Gunn does not have many regrets in his life, but yesterday he suggested that we wear Christmas sweaters.
You're a bunch of Grinches.
Look at this.
Christmas Grinches.
Were you really going to deny Seth Joyner the opportunity to wear this jacket?
I mean, the man is clean. I mean, he's sharp as a knife, but this is the holiday season, okay?
Yes.
Everywhere I've worked, we always wear, like, the Christmas sweaters. You look at national shows, you see him wearing Christmas sweaters. And Seth looking at me like, man, I don't wear nothing that cheap. You know, and they chastised me as we had a group text message yesterday, and I suggested it. Him and Marc Farzetta laughed at me.
Yes.
They chastised me. I wanted to wear my sweater with the reindeer face on the front and antlers on the back. You see his backside and the tail sticking up. But no, they beat me down. They browbeat me to the point I just had to be real conservative. So kind of killed a little bit of my Christmas spirit.
He didn't reveal that in the text.
I said just wear what you want to wear. If you're in the festive mood, be in the festive mood. I'm not putting on no ugly
Why not?
sweater.
It's tradition across America.
Not happening. Not happening. Hey, listen.
What?
We're going to take a poll, okay?
All right.
The viewers that are watching, thumbs up for Christmas sweater, thumbs down for against it, okay? I'm just not feeling it.
Why you got to be a Grinch?
I don't even own a sweater.
Now, any kind of sweater?
Any kind of sweater.
Wait, what do you got against sweaters? I think they're very stylish.
Old folks wear sweaters, Mike.
What? I see all kind of young people wearing sweaters. What the heck you talking about, man?
If you wear a cardigan, I'm going to be worried about you. I'm going to be a little worried.
I'm wearing one
I haven't worn a sweater since I was in
Archbishop
Archbishop Wood, a little bit down the street
I'm gonna wear a
here.
cardigan just to mess with you.
Fair enough.
You know what? You two keep messing with me. I'm shaving the mustache in between shows today.
Oh, do
yes.
not.
I got
Do
a razor.
not.
I got a razor with me. I'll shave it right now. I'll shave it on this set live if I have to.
Do not mess with this winning streak that the Eagles are enjoying. And speaking of that winning streak, ladies and gentlemen, it seems that a lot of people are reaching and grasping at straws to try to find some drama when it comes to the Eagles, some storyline other than the idea that this team has rattled off 10 straight wins, a franchise record, other than Saquon Barkley going after an NFL record that has stood for 40 years. People are looking for stories. The story that came out this week was from Jay Glazer that said, Big Dom and Brandon Graham visited the house of Jalen Hurts during the bye week to tell him he's got to be more approachable. I don't know if that means he should be wearing a Christmas sweater as well to appear more friendly or not.
Again. Here we go.
But, Gunner, I know you know Brandon Graham well. I know you know Big Dom as well. What did you make of the report of the latest installment of the Eagles drama?
I went right to the sources. I went right to the sources. Both Big Dom and Brandon Graham.
Okay, you went right to the sources.
They were both in unison. Didn't happen. Plain and simple. It didn't happen. You know. And I have a lot of respect for Jay Glazer. And Jay Glazer is the kind of guy, he doesn't put stuff out there unless he has some kind of information, because when you look at a lot of his stories, the majority of his stories are true. But in this case, he was off base a little bit, because they both said, and they have no reason to lie to me. I've known them both a long time. They're both good friends of mine. And they basically told me point blank, D-Gun, he said, you people, they always start with this, you people in the media. I said, don't include me in this. I'm asking you a question. I didn't start this. And they both said in unison, didn't happen.
Yeah, I just want to say this. I don't think Jay Glazer made up anything, but I'm along the lines. He got information from someone that he trusted, and that person, I think, was wrong.
Hey, listen, this is just the time of the year for this football team. They just need to close ranks and stay focused on, the main thing, and that's winning football games. Because at the end of the day, nobody outside of Philadelphia wants to see this team do well. When you listen to the national media, they're almost forced to, like you got a cattle prod on them, to give this team the credit that it deserves. You still got some, with these team rankings, they're saying, oh, the Eagles are second or third best team in the National Football League. I'm like, come on. All you got to do is watch the game. If you watch the game close enough, you got the number one ranked, defense in the National Football League. You got an offense that's a juggernaut. They could just dominate anybody that they play. They can beat you running it. They can beat you throwing it. And yet and still, everybody's looking for a reason why this team will falter and fall on its face. And it's not locally, I wouldn't think. There's still some detractors, some haters, some Jalen Hurts haters that are still out there locally. But anybody that's a true Philadelphia Eagles fan, it's like when I say go Bird to you. Yeah. Go Birds. If you don't say go Birds back, you ain't really an Eagles fan.
You're right.
Okay.
By the way, go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Just to get in there.
So it's just one of those things where, on a national level, they're always going to take heat. They could get to the Super Bowl no matter who they play against. Everybody's going to pick against the Eagles. That's just the way it is.
By the way, I'm looking at early returns on our question here for thumbs up or thumbs down. Rick is telling us thumbs down. Bah humbug, no sweaters.
Time out.
Ari is saying thumbs up. Jared saying thumbs down.
While Seth was talking, I just took a poll so far. 15 thumbs up, 10 thumbs down.
Wow.
That's all you need to know.
Okay.
All the people with thumbs down, Christmas Grinches, all of them.
You know what our greatest demographic is, right?
What is that?
Over 65.
Hey, wait a minute. You ain't too far off of that.
I know, it's okay. Okay. Hey, listen, I can poke the bear till I get
That's right.
there.
That's
okay.
right. You're right about that.
Fair enough. Tugging on Superman's cape. All right, so with all that in mind, with all the drama and everyone reaching for stories, as you'd say, what does this team need to do? Because I hear constantly from the head coach. I even heard it from Jordan Mailata earlier this week talking about how, sorry, boring, just trying to focus on the Commanders, but you can win the division. Yep, not really looking at that, looking at winning a Super Bowl. So we're going to stay as boring as possible. Is that the way a team like this, Seth, blocks out the outside noise?
Well, yeah. Because it's easy to get distracted if you don't stay focused on, what your ultimate goal is. Listen, and to be honest, they can only play one game at a time. I expect for this team to come out focused because, even after what they accomplished last week, you still got the nonsense that's going on. That just adds fuel to the fire. See, if the dummies were smart, D-Gun, what they would do is they would give them praises and they would talk about how great they are, and hope that they, trip over their own clippings and get caught up without, get caught up with not being focused on what's going on. But just as long as you continue to make this us against the world, situation with this football team, they're going to continue to dominate. They're going to continue to dominate because all they want to do is thumb their noses at you.
Hey, you know what? That's what happened in 2017 when they started losing all these Pro Bowl type players. Everybody doubted them, and all they did was kept winning. And the thing that really perplexes me about this Eagles team, they set a franchise record winning 10 in a row. Yet they still get national indifference in terms of what people think about them. But everybody's raving about the 11-3 Buffalo Bills. Everybody's raving about the 12-2 Vikings and the 12-2 Lions, even though the Lions got their butts handed to them last week against Buffalo. Oh, that was just a slip-up because of all the injuries and stuff like that. Everybody's raving about the two-time defending champion Kansas City Chiefs, who are 14-1, and rightfully so, when you consider how hard it is to come back after you win a Super Bowl. If you look at a lot of the Super Bowl winners, the next year they come back, they don't put together those type of records. Yet Kansas City has found a way to do. You call it luck. You say Miss Cleo stepped in and helped them out. Whatever the case may be, they're 14-1. But when it comes to these 12-2 Eagles, everybody's still calling them a fluke outside of Philadelphia. Well, I'm not sure yet about the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm still waiting to see. They do have the best running back in the game. Jalen, it's not turning the ball over, but I'm still not sold on the number one defense in the National Football League. That just blows me away that they still have this indifference towards the Eagles.
Ever since really last week when we saw Saquon Barkley's numbers take a hit at the expense of the passing game actually looking pretty damn good last week, the only thing people really want to talk about with the Eagles is drama and what they can't do well. And that's an unfortunate thing because I think they still have the most dominant force in the entire NFL when you have Saquon Barkley running behind this offensive line. They want to tell you what Jalen Hurts can't do. They want to tell you, for instance, on the national stage, our friend Dan Orlovsky talking about how Baker Mayfield is better than Jalen Hurts right now in the NFL. I look at it and I say this team just does what every other team wants to do, which is win. And I know it's cliche now, and I know a lot of people roll their eyes at it, but keeping the main thing as a quarterback is the most important thing. He doesn't care about his numbers. He only cares about whether or not the team wins. If he's got to hand the football off to Saquon Barkley, he's going to do that. So to respond to just Saquon Barkley and what he's at right now, he needs 417 yards to break Eric Dickerson's 40-year record. He's got 3 games to do it. It puts him at about 140 yards per game. I will say this, against Washington, the last time he faced the Commanders, he put up 146. He put 176 against the Giants the last time he played them, and then only 66 against the Cowboys. But he has had amazing games this season. No better example than 255 yards against the Rams. My question to you, gentlemen, Seth, I'll ask you first. Does Saquon Barkley break Eric Dickerson's record? There's 3 games to go.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at the 3 teams that they're about to play, and what's their greatest Achilles heel? Their greatest Achilles heel is their ability to stop the run. They're playing a Commanders defense today that's given up 132 yards per game on average on the ground. Okay, they rank 25th versus the run. Okay, the biggest strength of this defensive football team is their ability to stop the pass. They're ranked 4th against the pass. Okay, so where's the strength? And what are teams going to do? They're still going to come in. They're going to try to get Saquon under control. But if the Eagles play the game the way they played it last week, where when you had 2 high safeties, they ran the football, they rotate the single high safety, they check, Jalen went to the quick passing game. If they just continue to play that chess match, play after play after play, then at some point Saquon's going to get his, okay? I mean, they just made a conscious effort with everything that was going on last week not to bang their head against the wall and try to force a round peg into a square hole. They decided we're going to come out, we're going to throw the ball. That's what everybody wanted. Like Jalen Hurts said, is this what y'all wanted to see? That's the first thing. The second thing was, I think the matchup was in their favor to play the game the way they played it last week. Now they're coming up against another team this week who it could be the same. It could be the same, but in reverse. Let's run the ball. Once you force them to go, 7, 8 guys in the box, now we can go play action pass and get stuff on the outside. I thought it was very, very telling, Nick Sirianni's comment last week to the team in the locker room after the game. You want us to run it? We'll run it. You want us to pass it? We'll pass it. Basically what he was saying is we'll kick y'all's ass any way you want us to kick y'all's ass. If you want us to run it, you want us to run it down your throat and beat you, we'll do it that way. If we have to throw the ball, we can do it that way. And let me tell you something, guys. I played for 13 years. I've been an analyst doing this for a long time. The team, when you're playing against an offense that can make a defensive coordinator that indecisive about how he's going to call the game and make players think twice about potentially what you could run from play to play to play. As a defensive player, that's the worst position to be in. You want to have a team be one-dimensional. Either run it or throw it, one or the other. But when you got the ability to do both, now I'm always a step behind.
I don't know if you guys believe in omens, but you're talking about Saquon and possibly having not just a big game today, but putting up enough numbers over the next 3 games to break Eric Dickerson's record. Let me share these numbers with you here. When Saquon has had a sub 100-yard game, he's come back with a vengeance. Go back to September 16th versus Atlanta. He had 95 yards rushing. Next week against the Saints, he busted him up for 147. After that, against Tampa Bay, he has 84 yards. Cleveland, 47 yards. Against his former team, he busted him up 176. Dallas held him to 66 yards next week against Washington, 146. And, oh, by the way, what did Pittsburgh do last week? Held him to 65 yards. Saquon, he about to bust out today against Washington, okay? Now, carry it a little bit further because I want to ask you both of this. I do believe that he has a good shot at breaking this record. But let's say going into that last game against the Giants, he needs 100 yards to break that record in a meaningless game. Their seating is already locked up and everything. Whether it's 1 or 2, they're already locked up. Now, you're playing against a Giants team. You got a bunch of guys playing for jobs for 2025. So you know they're going to give everything they can, and they don't want to get embarrassed by the Eagles and Saquon. Do you put Saquon on the field?
First of all, the Giants ain't going to – the U-Hauls are going to be –
already packed up.
Packed up.
Yes.
And the cars are going to be warmed in the parking lot already. Yes. Okay, they're going to already be checked out. He can get 100 yards in
a quarter?
In a half against a team like the New York Giants. We're talking history. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you know, the Super Bowl is the thing that we're after. We should be focused. But when you're talking about this kind of history, you're talking about a record, D-Gun.
Absolutely.
That's 40 years old.
Absolutely.
The likelihood of him being able to be back in this position again, and I know Nick Sirianni is going to ask him the question, do you want to go for the record?
Yeah.
You know? And he may say, hey, let the young guys eat, like he did last time they played the Giants.
Yeah.
I think it's incumbent upon Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore to put him in a position that no matter what the circumstances are, you allow him to chase this record.
I don't disagree with you, but my point being this. If the Giants play all of their scrubs, you got a bunch of guys that are trying to make a name for themselves, which means a little extracurricular activity. One guy may take an extra shot trying to get some film out there for somebody else. Injuries happen across the board in the National Football League. You can't avoid them. The bigger picture is this team's trying to get to the Super Bowl. They're already picked as the NFC favorite to go to the Super Bowl. You want all your horses in the corral when you hit the playoffs.
Yeah.
You run a slight risk of putting them out there. And I'm not saying you play in fear, because when you play this game in fear, you end up getting hurt. But being a smarter team, would you put them out there?
I wouldn't. I would not put them out there. But let me say this. I think that game's going to matter. I don't think they're going to have the luxury of the game not matter, because you still have the Vikings, and obviously you still have the Lions that are right there with you.
Yes.
So that game, I think, is going to mean something to the Eagles. So with that being said, I think he breaks the record. But if it comes down to the scenario that you're laying out there, no, because it's also 17 games as opposed to 16 games.
But
so there's an asterisk, if you will.
When people I talk to on both sides of the fence, like you guys, like Seth said. And
I'm saying don't play him.
Yeah, I know, I agree.
Okay.
But I'm saying
don't play him.
But see, a lot of people say this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You leave it in the hands of the coach and the player.
Not for Saquon.
I get it.
Not for Saquon in this offensive line. They'll be back in this spot next year.
But Jordan Mailata has said on radio shows, we want to get it. We want to be out there with him for the record.
Absolutely, they want.
Because that's a part of their history. Also, they blocked for a record-setting running back.
I think what we're witnessing is the wussification of society on a sports level.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, football players want to play football. You got 17 weeks, 18 weeks you have to do what it is that you love to do.
Yep.
And then you got 35 weeks to heal up and do whatever it is you got to do to get ready to do it all over again, okay? Any football player that I've ever known wants to play the game of football because you're so limited as to how many games you have from year to year to year. And I never went into a game with a mindset of injury or trying to protect against injury.
Right.
Because the minute you put that thought in your mind, that's the minute that you get injured. So just go and play. Play the game, man. Play the game. We've been mauling and beating the hell out of people all season long. And now we're worried about the freaking New York Giants in Week 18.
I'm not saying
I ain't worried about them. No. I ain't worried about it. And especially if you got the bye. Play them because you need the rhythm. You're going to have a whole week off. play him, get the record, get the rhythm, and then rest him. This whole, we got to protect against injury. Man, please.
Okay.
Please.
Coaches have taken the decision out of players' hands when they've wanted to do certain things, especially when it's come down to an end of a season when positions have already been locked up. Quarterbacks want to play the game. Nope, you're sitting this one out. We see it all the time in the National Football League. I'm saying the decision for Saquon may be taken out of his hands based on what this team does this week and next week against the Dallas Cowboys.
That would be a shame.
It would be a shame.
Did you hear him? Wussification.
That would be a shame.
Did you say wussification?
That's what he said.
All right, let's take this into consideration also. He got nicked up in that Pittsburgh game.
Mm-hmm.
All right? They didn't play him as much. Everybody, all across social media, we sitting in the green room watching the game. What the heck is Saquon?
Right.
They protected him against himself because they were rolling. They didn't really need him. So if they don't need him against that Giants game, and I don't disagree with either one of you because I'm on both sides of the fence, it's a slippery slope. What if you put him out there and all of a sudden some young player trying to get some film out there hits him in the knee, boom.
Bro,
I don't think that hypothetical. I don't think that hypothetical
had 19 runs last week. As much as they held him out of the game, he still got his numbers. That's about what he's averaging.
I get it. We'll revisit this, I'm sure, as the show goes on. No doubt about that. But when we come back, we have some giveaways to talk about.
Man, don't cut off our conversation, man. What's wrong with
we got a whole rest of the show to go.
You, man. We're rolling, man.
I got to keep a schedule
Come
here.
on, man. We're in the holiday spirit here, minus the sweaters.
We're going to get him a sweater.
We're going to get him a sweater. We'll find him
Tune in for post game where D-Don's going to wear his ugly Christmas sweater.
Make sure it's a large.
When we come back, we'll tell you the players that we're focusing on behind enemy lines and also talk about our giveaways here on the betPARX pregame show presented by Lehocky. There it is in all its glory. Ben Salem, 20 minutes north of Center City, Philadelphia, Parx Casino.
It's happening again. Those missed tackles are starting to stack up. Your friends pleading with players who can't hear them, sweating it out week after week. But not you. Why? Because whether they score or not, there's always another way to win on the betPARX app. New casino users score up to $1,000 bonus back in their first 24 hours.
At Lehocky Giordano, we understand the impact an injury can have on your life. Our experienced attorneys have recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we know we can do the same for you. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured at work, give Lehocky a call.
Sell your car to us, no hassle, no fuss. DavisBuysCars.com.
Did you know that Davis Honda will pay top dollar for your car? Go to DavisBuysCars.com and get an instant quote on your vehicle. We'll make the purchase as easy as possible and put cash in your hand faster than you can say DavisBuysCars.com.
Sell your car to us, no hassle, no fuss. DavisBuysCars.com. It's the most wonderful time with the kids jingle. Be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful.
Whether your phone's broken or old, we've got you. With Verizon, anyone can trade in any phone, any condition. And get iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. And iPad and Apple Watch Series 10, all three on us. That's up to $2,000 in value, only on Verizon.
Hello?
This upcoming segment is brought to you by betPARX. Welcome into the betPARX pregame show presented by Lehocky, Marc Farzetta, Eagles Hall of Famer Seth Joyner, veteran Eagles reporter Derrick Gunn on the pregame show today. Ladies and gentlemen, the Philadelphia Eagles have this matchup here against the Commanders where they could lock up the NFC East. They could lock that up today. But also, we have some things that we want to make sure that we're giving away. And it's not just being in the Christmas spirit, folks. It's all throughout the season, Seth. You got some great giveaways for the wonderful Eagles fans watching this show.
Well, it just keeps on rolling. We got a winner for the Jalen Hurts jersey. We're going to announce him a little later on. Marc's going to announce him. We got a helmet and a football, two different sets because we missed last week that we're going to give away in the post-game show. We're going to do it in the show. So you're going to know while we're on air whether you won or not. We've got a Brandon Graham jersey that's left. And then with the Cowgirls coming up next week, we're going to start that promotion early next week. That will go up on social media probably on Monday or Tuesday. Got 2 tickets to watch us kick the Cowgirls' ass on next Sunday.
And we have the jersey winner, and the jersey we're giving away right now is?
That's Mike.
No, Mike wins. Oh, okay. Mike,
there he is.
Mike Hartrampt. Hopefully I nailed that for you, Mike. Congratulations. You win the jersey. Just like that. Congratulations. Thanks for following Seth Joyner Show, all social media platforms as well. Let's get into our behind enemy lines with the Eagles taking on the Commanders today. I'll take the first one here, folks. When it comes to this Eagles matchup, there was one player that really was burned in my brain after the Eagles handled their business in Week 11, and that is looking at Frankie Louvu and what he was able to do against this Eagles squad. Looking at what he was able to bring to the table, their will linebacker, 82 tackles on the season. He's got 8 sacks. Listen to this, 9 tackles for loss. 2 of the sacks that he has so far this year came against the Eagles in that Week 11 matchup. If you remember, in the second quarter of that 26-18 win over the Commanders, the Eagles tried running that trick play, that double reverse. Frankie Louvu is the one that ended up breaking that play wide open for the Commanders' favor, but he was a thorn in their side throughout the game. Somebody that could get into the backfield, somebody that can blitz, somebody that can also drop back into coverage. Like I said, a thorn in the side of the Eagles in that Week 11 matchup. So that's the guy I'm going to be focusing on today when I look at the Washington Commanders. Derrick Gunn, who are you looking at in this one?
I don't want to talk, man. I'm hurt. My Christmas spirit is shattered. No, I'm just playing. All right, I'm going to talk about Scary Terry McLaurin. When you look at him versus the Eagles in his career, he has 59 catches, 857 yards, 4 touchdowns. But he ain't so scary because in the last game against the Philadelphia Eagles, Washington kept him on one side against the rookie Quinyon Mitchell, and all Quinyon did was shut him down. He had 2 targets and 1 catch for 10 yards. But I've also noticed this about him. The last 2 games, they've been moving him around now. They don't keep him lined up at one position. And in the last 2 games, 18 catches, 146 yards, 4 touchdowns. Washington won both games. So I expect them to move him around now and try to find a weak link in this defense of the Eagles, which really doesn't exist. But you don't think Terry's been thinking about this all week, that I was held to 1 catch by a rookie? So he's got a lot of motivation going into this game. And, oh, by the way, Jaden Daniels is finally healthy again. It's going to be interesting to see how Washington attacks this Eagles defense.
It was very interesting in their first go-around this season in Week 11. Scary Terry, his first target didn't even come until the 3rd quarter. Yep. His first catch didn't come. I believe it was that garbage time drive where he had his first reception. So it took a while to get Scary Terry the football. Seth Joyner, who are you looking at behind enemy lines?
He better take his ass over on the other side if he wants. This game. He gets nothing over there on that left side against the rookie. And yeah, they got to move him around. It wouldn't surprise me one bit to see Vic Fangio travel on him every place that he goes because he is their big play guy. But that being said, those big plays don't happen without Jaden Daniels. Mm-hmm. And this is the thing that scares me about Jaden Daniels is in that first game, he was hurt. He had a rib injury, and the coaches pretty much said, hey, we'll let you play, but no running. Now he's fully healthy, back to running around. He's more dangerous when he's outside of the pocket than when he actually plays from the pocket. Listen, this Commanders offense isn't, he's averaging 218 yards per game passing. That's 16th in the NFL. I'm not so much worried about him passing the ball as I am him getting out of the pocket, making big plays on broken plays, and him breaking the pocket, converting 3rd downs when we lose discipline, in our pass rush lanes. This is a quarterback similar to Lamar Jackson that you need to keep him in the pocket and make him operate from the pocket and make him have to throw the ball and win the game on his ability from the pocket. So he's the guy that I'm most worried about. I mean, Scary Terry, we can figure out a way to put the clamps on him. And by the way, statistically, he lined up over on the left side, on Quinyon Mitchell's side, right, 79% of the time. So now what? They're starting to move him around because, he's getting locked up in that one position. Frankie Beverly and Mays. No, I'm just joking. Run the ball at a guy like that. The thing that always blew my mind is that when you got an undersized guy that's extremely active, that's going to give your tackles problems, just run at him, especially if he's an edge guy. Go 12 personnel, and he's going to line up according to the strength. He's always going to go weak. But what you can do is line one tight end up in the fullback position, shift him up, okay? Take X off, put him on the line. Take the Y on the other side, take him off, put Z up on the line, and then motion them across. Now you can't hide him from the strength, okay? You get both tight ends on one side and drive his ass to Jersey and call it a day. I don't understand why teams don't do that.
Right.
Like these undersized defensive ends or outside linebackers, whatever you want to call them, these edge guys, I would run at them all day, every day with two tight ends and just run their ass off the planet off planet Earth. I just don't understand why they don't do it. I'm not going to even give that guy a chance to get going. I'm going to demoralize him all day long. And then once I've got him demoralized, now I can leave him one-on-one and not have to worry about him wrecking shop.
I want to add this to what you were saying about Jaden Daniels. When he was dealing with that rib injury, he was only completing 61% of his passes. His last two games, and you're talking about keeping him in the pocket and him throwing the football. His last two games he's been healthy. He's completed 82% of his passes, 5 touchdowns and only 1 interception. So the kid that we all were talking about, as well as everybody across the board nationally as the slam dunk favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year, is back to what he was before he had that rib injury. I'm as worried as you about him today coming to his game, especially if he gets outside of that pocket and has time to find somebody down the field.
All right, let me ask you this then. 2 things I want to go over that we didn't touch on behind enemy lines then. One is the coaching. Dan Quinn, not his first rodeo. Cliff Kingsbury, not his first rodeo, obviously. Joe Witt, the defensive coordinator, he's been with Dan Quinn for a long time, including their time together with the Dallas Cowboys. So these guys aren't morons by any means. They know how to make adjustments. I think the Eagles are the overall more talented team. I still think the Eagles, spoiler, are going to win today. I'll give you a hint at my prediction. But all in all, what not scares you, but what's something you're going to take notice of that they could do as an adjustment to combat what they did in week 11 against the Eagles?
Well, I think the defense is playing so well. I mean, when you look at the Eagles' defense, they're first in points per game, first in yards per game, second and third down conversion, fourth in red zone, 6th against the rush, and first against the pass. I'm not worried about what's going to happen defensively. So then the focus kind of goes over on the offensive side of the ball and how this Washington Commanders team is going to be able to handle, the Eagles. Obviously, they're going to believe that they want to make Saquon the focal point, okay? So, listen, I mean, that chess match is inevitable. The thing that worries me is that, if they can figure out a way to kind of tamp Saquon down a little bit, they're the 4th-ranked defense against the pass in the National Football League. Jalen's going to have to throw the football. What can we get done? What kind of coverages is he going to see? And what kind of adjustments are we going to make on the offensive side of the ball? I like to call them the adjustment to the adjustment, because you come out doing one thing, the defense adjusts. Once the defense adjusts, now you got to make an adjustment to the adjustment. And then how do you counter to make an adjustment to the adjustment to the adjustment to the adjustment, if you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. They got some minds.
Now.
Oh, I'm with them. I understood every word of that.
Yeah, I think if Washington has a chance to stay in this game, they're going to have to try to run the football. It's overlooked the fact this is an offense for Washington that averages 155 yards a game rushing. They didn't run the football as much against the Eagles because they had to play catch-up in that game. But if they can somehow establish the run against a very stout Eagles run defense that's giving up just less than 105 yards a game rushing, it's going to make this game that much closer. Eagles have to get their Washington offense off the field to get that ball back in their offense's hands, because obviously Washington's defense is not nearly as stout as the Eagles' defense. You put that Eagles offense against their defense, I like their chances. Let's go back to last week, and I still can't get this out of my head. Pittsburgh has one of the nastiest, stoutest defenses in the National Football League. Pittsburgh's offense only ran 11 offensive plays total in that entire second half. The Eagles closed out the game with a 10-plus minute drive. I've never seen 21-play, 88-yard drive, and basically Pittsburgh couldn't do anything about it. I've never seen a Pittsburgh defense get that demoralized in the last 10 years. So if this Washington defense is a little bit more porous, establish that run, hit them in the mouth, and make them quit before the fourth quarter gets there.
On that note, you've mentioned the fourth best passing defense, Seth, a couple of times when you talk about the Washington Commanders, but the guy that wasn't, the guy that's going to be in the secondary today was not in the secondary in that Week 11 matchup. That's Marshon Lattimore. The Eagles faced him once earlier in the season when he was still with the Saints. Last week he played against the Saints and by all accounts, quote, erased his side of the football field. It was not an option for the opposing quarterback. So what type of impact do you expect, if any, from Marshon Lattimore being out there in the secondary today?
Now listen, he's a great talent. He's a great cornerback. He can't stop A.J. Brown. I don't give a damn if you put two of them out there. They can't stop him. You know, because a lot of the routes that AJ runs is determined by the technique. If you line up outside of AJ, he's just going to press you out and run a slant. You can't stop it. You can't stop it. Even if you know it's coming and he gets a stem on you, he gets you to move one step and he's got to step inside, you can't cover him. If you get up and you try to jam him at the line of scrimmage, I watched him last week just swat a DB off. I think it was Joey Porter Jr. with his little light in the behind self. He got up there and tried to jam him at the line of scrimmage, and AJ was like, and this is what I don't understand about a lot of wide receivers. It's one thing for a cornerback to get up in a DB's face or in a wide receiver's face and try to jam him at the line of scrimmage. But there's not a rule in the National Football League that says that the wide receiver can't be as aggressive and as physical with the DB. So if you're going to get up and you're going to try to fight me at the line of scrimmage, you got a 225-pound A.J. Brown against a 190-pound Marshon Lattimore. Beat him like he stole something and run whatever route you want to run. So I'm not worried about no Marshon Lattimore or anybody else they got over there on that side of the ball.
One thing Marshon does give him is more of a physical presence on the back end of that defense. He's a sure tackler. He likes to play a lot of bump and run. And he's a very good technician in terms of how to try to get receivers off their routes. But this is A.J. Brown. You know, and A.J. Brown is like a man's man of receivers. You don't see there's a lot of good receivers in the National Football League. You don't see a lot of receivers with the offensive physicality that you do with an A.J. Brown, a big body, strong-handed individual. He's a nightmare to cover one-on-one. I'd be surprised if Washington didn't give Lattimore, if Lattimore's on him, some kind of help to try to double down, which means Smitty or the tight end position could have a big day today.
All right, fair enough. When we come back, we're going to give you an update on the injury status of A.J. Brown showing up on the injury report this week. And also, we're going to take a look at Jalen Hurts. He has been talked about throughout the week as a guy that some national pundits are saying outside a top 5 quarterback category of just NFC quarterbacks. We'll break that down when we return on the betPARX pregame show presented by Lehocky. The beer garden here at Parx Casino. Enjoy a stein, enjoy a pint, and take in a game.
And the next thing I knew, I woke up in a hospital bed.
Has a friend ever told you a story about an accident and someone says,
you should probably sue them.
forget your friend. Call Lehocky Giordano.
We're an injury law firm that's recovered billions of dollars for our clients.
And with our vast network of attorneys throughout the country, we know we can do the same for you.
So if you've been injured in an accident, give Lehocky a call.
One conversation is all it takes, and you won't pay a dime until we win.
Most people don't know how to get the care they need. The experts at Stay at Home Care can help. Before choosing a caregiver or family member for your care, you need to apply for the Home Care Program. The application process can be complicated. Stay at Home Care can help you navigate through every step. Once approved, your caregiver or family member will receive guaranteed weekly pay, a variety of medical benefits options, paid holidays, paid vacation, and overtime pay. Call Stay at Home Care, here to help every step of the way.
This is Parx.
This is how you roll. This is how it goes. This is how you pop. This is how you rock. Take a chance, do a dance, little romance. This is how you. This is how you win. This is how you excite. This is how you all night. 360 hit me. Now we're going all in. I can feel it calling. The crowd, the light, the night, the sights, the vibe is right. This is how you. This is
Parks, Pennsylvania's #1 casino experience. This is how you win.
Since 1893, Weber Display and Packaging has been Pennsylvania's leading manufacturer of corrugated packaging and displays. We're family-owned with 4 Philadelphia locations, 2 converting facilities, a warehouse, and a fulfillment center. Designed through delivery, we exceed customer needs. Weber Display and Packaging. Our core values drive everything we do. Come join our team.
Gentlemen, are you ready for a wardrobe update? Introducing Divine Nine's Custom Menswear, your clothier for truly unique, custom-made threads. With Divine Nine, you can design your own one-of-a-kind suit, jacket, slacks, shirts, golf pants, and shorts, perfectly handcrafted by our skilled artisans who will bring your vision to life. Prepare to stand out from the crowd with Divine Nine's Custom Clothier, official clothier of Seth Joyner. Custom clothing made for you.
This upcoming segment is brought to you by Lehocky. Welcome back to the betPARX pregame show presented by Lehocky. Marc, Farzetta, Seth Joyner, Derrick, Gunn with you. There is some talk about A.J. Brown, a little bit of a knee injury. He had told media members that he was ready to go and that he was going to play. This is as of Friday. When it comes to the percentage he's going to be at, Derrick Gunn, what have you heard about this knee injury to A.J. Brown?
It's a little nagging injury, but not enough to keep him off the field. He understands the importance of this game today. You know, it's what's that old saying, Seth? If you ain't injured, you play. If you're hurt, that means nothing. Everybody's hurt at this point of a season. Unless there's a legitimate injury, you get your butt out there and you play. So it's a little nagging knee injury. The interesting thing was Nick Sirianni, he kept being peppered by questions about when A.J. got hurt, and he was very vague about it. He goes, you know, you guys will figure it out.
Right.
He wouldn't tell him when it was hurt, whether it was in a game against Pittsburgh, whether it was in practice. Did he step the wrong way and tweak the knee or something? And I found that quite interesting. Why he goes, I would love to be more honest with you. I'm like, then why don't you just tell us? It's not like the
He got injured on the sideline last week. We was watching it.
I know, but
it was a quick nick, and he got up and he was kind of shaking the leg out. You remember how he stayed down on his knee, that catch on the sideline? Yep. I mean, that's where it is, but I guess Nick says, you know, why don't y'all watch the games?
Yeah, it was the attitude he took surrounding the injury was more than vague. There was tood on it, man. There was tood on it.
Well, that's what football is, tood, isn't it? It's all about tood.
All about that gamesmanship.
All about that gamesmanship, man.
As far as, I also thought this was interesting. As far as last week's comments went, Jordan Mailata has actually been very forthcoming. While Nick Sirianni has tried, as many coaches in the NFL, have tried to keep things close to the vest, Jordan Mailata has let it all out. And last week after the game, I thought it was very interesting because we've asked this question many times. What are the Eagles doing to correct the mistakes of the first quarter? What are these coaches doing all week when they're game planning for their opponent, and every single week almost they fail in the first quarter to get points on the board? And Jordan Mailata specifically said they knew what the first 5 plays were going to be. They knew there were going to be passing plays. One running play was Saquon Barkley, but everything else was going to be a passing play, so they knew they were going to have to hold their blocks. That's 5 scripted plays, not 10, not 15, just 5. Is that the first time you're hearing of something like this, only 5, or is he just being somewhat vague to keep people guessing?
Excuse me. I think sometimes players say more than coaches would like for them to say.
I agree with that.
Now, that being said, you know, we talked about this early in the year. Why are the Eagles struggling so much to score points in the first quarter? You know, and I said either A, they are just not very adept at scheduling their first 10 to 15 plays. B, they don't schedule them, you know, or C, and this is what I thought all along, is that they come out and they run a series of plays. They don't care what they are, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get a feel for how the defense is going to play them on that day. What do you have new in your repertoire that you've come up with to defend us this week? And then from there, they adjust, because what they have been is a very good football team at adjusting. All I got to do is go back through my notes and take you to the end of the first half into the second half. They have dominated the last 3 quarters of the football game across the board every single game this season. And a lot of that, in my opinion, it's not just my opinion, it's just a fact. When a team makes good adjustments like that, that's the difference between when they have struggled and when they have succeeded. So they're struggling early because they come out and they're not sure what they want to run. They're just trying to show the defense something so the defense shows their hand. Once the defense is in a place where it's like, oh, this is what you're going to do today, now they turn into the mad scientists on the sideline and they figure out how to adjust to what they're doing. And that's a good thing because the teams, in my opinion, the National Football League is an adjustment league.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. If you can't make adjustments, then you're not going to win very many football games. If you go into a game and you got a game plan and that game plan goes to hell in a handbag real quick and you don't have an adjustment, you're not going to win the football game. You know, I mean, yesterday was like heaven for me. I had 2 pro games and 3 college games. I don't know if they were really games, but the college games.
They stunk.
But I got to just sit around and watch football all day yesterday. And I'm watching Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Houston Texans have an opportunity to win this football game. But you know what did them in the second half? The Houston Texans primarily are a zone team, okay? And when Patrick Mahomes, through the adjustment of Andy Reid, decided that they were going to mix in a little bit of run and just throw the 4 to 5 yard routes, take what the defense was giving them, that game was over. The game was over because the thing that the Texans didn't want to do is they didn't want to play man-to-man. And you mean to tell me you're going to drop back and let Travis Kelce sit between the linebackers and take 5 yards every single time that he wants it, swing the ball out of the backfield, get guys in motion for 5 yard routes? They just systematically moved the chains down the field, and that game was over, even though they only lost by 1 score.
Mm-hmm.
But when I sat back and I saw that adjustment and the Texans' inability or lack of desire to get out of zone and play some man, I said, this game is over.
All right, I have to ask you this question because it was something that was rattling around in my brain since I saw it. I think it was on Tuesday it came out. Headline was about the NFC quarterbacks, not NFL quarterbacks. I want to stress this. NFC quarterbacks having 5 or 6 ranked above Jalen Hurts. This is just the conference again. Jordan Love, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, and Matt Stafford.
Can I ask whose list that is?
It was a couple of people that put it together, but the one that I saw in particular was Dan Orlovsky, lead quarterback analyst for ESPN.
Of course.
Now, the other thing is it was debated on other national platforms whether or not Jalen Hurts even belongs in the top 5 of the NFC. I think, but let me just put cards on the table. Absolutely. He does the thing that you're supposed to do, which is win. You're not necessarily padding stats, not necessarily always having to air the football out, but Saquon Barkley or no Saquon Barkley, he's winning football games. He's 10-2 to start 3 straight seasons, been to the playoffs every year, already been to a Super Bowl. What are we even talking about here? I feel like I'm on crazy pills.
Okay. Because Dan Orlovsky is one of those guys, Gunn, that believes that wins aren't a significant statistic for quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course, as a quarterback, you say some dumb crap like that. I almost cussed on air. You would say something dumb like that.
First time.
Every single quarterback is measured by his ability to win football games.
Absolutely.
Do you think anybody cares that Patrick Mahomes is averaging right around 230 yards per game passing this year when he's been way above that? No. You want to know why? Because they're 14-1.
And he gets the job done.
Come on, man.
Wait, who are those quarterbacks again?
All right, here you go. You got Jordan Love, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Jaden Daniels, Matt Stafford.
All right. Hold on. Jordan Love right now is doing exactly what he did last year. He caught fire in the second half of the season, which led Green Bay to a lot of wins and deep into the playoffs. He has 11 interceptions this season, has not thrown a pick in the last 4 games, so he's back in the zone again. You said Sam Darnold? I look at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's had a great year, but he has 11 interceptions, 29 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Who was the other ones? Real quick.
You mentioned Jordan Love, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield.
Okay, Baker Mayfield has 14 interceptions, 32 touchdowns, 104 QB rating. Baker Mayfield has been playing okay. I look at Jalen Hurts, And how many interceptions did Jalen have? Five interceptions.
5.
His quarterback rating is 104.5.
Which is 12 above Patrick Mahomes.
So you're telling me that there are 5 quarterbacks that are playing more efficient, better football than Jalen
in
Hurts
just the
in
conference?
I don't think so.
I agree
I
with
don't
you.
think so.
I think it's
But see, people
ludicrous.
forgive. Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions in one game a few weeks ago. Detroit rallied to win the game, and everybody's singing Jared Goff's praises because they rallied to win.
They act like they forgot that he threw 5 damn interceptions.
5 picks in a game. Really. And now Detroit won the game, came back and won. But they're singing and praying. They put him on this pedestal. Jared Goff puts up some great numbers year in and year out. I mean, in the latter stages of his career, he has really been a much better quarterback than he was in the early stages of his career. But seriously, you're going to tell me there's 5 quarterbacks playing more efficient than Jalen Hurts in the NFC? Not possible. Not possible.
Here's my thing. They look at the fact that the Eagles have thrown fewer passes than anybody in the NFL.
Whose fault is that? That's not their fault.
I mean, here's my thing. If you're able to literally, as Jalen Hurts did going into last week's game, saying that they could basically push a button and activate the passing game. Well, they pushed a button. They activated a passing game of 290 yards with 2 receivers over 100 yards in that game against the Steelers. You're saying you have that option. But you know you have the most dominant thing in the NFL, which is Saquon Barkley running behind that offensive line. Not that's a great thing.
Right.
But because that's so great doesn't make me look at Jalen Hurts and go, oh, well, he sucks now because this other thing on the team's awesome.
See, Seth is right. Why do we measure quarterbacks by just stats? Yards, touchdown passes, completion percentage, interceptions, sacks even. They even throw sacks in there. Like it's the quarterback's fault he's getting sacked, okay? Patrick Mahomes is on another level. His numbers can be down, but week in and week out, when I've seen Kansas City play, this man is always hit the right targets, leading the team down the field to put him in a position to win a game either by way of field goal or he hits the right guy for the touchdown pass. There's Patrick Mahomes and then debate about everybody else in the National Football League. Don't measure Patrick Mahomes by his overall stats because his numbers don't compare this year to what he's done in the past.
I'm saying,
I just my thing is, this is why I hate comparisons, okay? I hate comparisons because there's different elements. There's time, there's systems, there's skill sets and abilities. So when you start making these comparisons, they're often flawed,
right?
Okay? So if you're going to say that there's 5 better quarterbacks than Jalen Hurts, and your main topic is passing yards, touchdowns, and so, okay, put everything into perspective, okay? How many rushing touchdowns does Baker Mayfield have? And I don't give a damn. I don't want to hear from y'all with this, it's a 1-yard tush push. Last time I checked, whether you scored a touchdown from 90 yards or half a yard, it's still 6 points. Am I right?
Right.
Am I right?
That's right.
That's correct. Confirmed.
That's right.
And this whole talk about Saquon, listen, Saquon is the one that when the Eagles get down to the one, he's like, let's run the tush push. He's the one that he's pushing it more than anybody. Okay? So stop with the nonsense about, Jalen's got all these touchdowns, but they're 1 yard. It's still 6 damn points when it's all said and done, okay? So let's talk about what else that Jalen brings to the table. How many times does any of those other 5 quarterbacks convert third downs with their legs when everything goes to hell in the handbasket, okay? How many times has some of those other guys been sacked? So when you make these comparisons, this is what I don't like about it. Because when quarterbacks like Dan Orlovsky wants to compare quarterbacks, guess what he's going to talk about? Passing. Passing yards, pass yards per attempt, all of these things, completion percentages. This is what he wants to talk about. He's going to leave out the fact that Jalen is second in the NFL, I believe it is, in rushing for quarterbacks behind, I believe, Lamar Jackson. Okay? He wants to leave out the fact that Jalen has almost as many rushing touchdowns as he does passing touchdowns. And guess what? They still count. It's still seven points. Okay? So you want to leave out all of these different things and then you want to turn around and you want to make a comparison. That's nonsensical. It makes no sense whatsoever. That's why I always say, stop it. Because Jalen means many more things to his team than some of these guys mean to their team. Like when I think about Jalen, I put him with I put him with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. You want to know why? Because he does more for the offense than meets the eye.
All-around weapon.
The other quarterbacks, they're going to throw it. They're going to make wise decisions with the football in pressure situations, so on and so forth, but they're not going to be the difference maker. They may run like once every two or three games and get a first down, but think about how many times Jalen scrambles and gets plus yards when the play breaks down, or scrambles like he did last week for 20-something yards for a first down and creates a first and goal. Don't nobody want to talk about those things. Yeah. And if you don't want to talk about those things, shut the hell up and stop making comparisons.
There you go.
Fair
Amen,
enough.
brother.
Fair enough. Fair enough. When we return, we'll give you our predictions for both our mid-pen bank player to bank on for this game and also our official Eagles-Commanders predictions for this Week 16 matchup. That's when we return. Check out betPARX Sportsbook. Take in a game, win yourself some money, and enjoy it all in luxury.
It's the most wonderful time with the kids jingle. Be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful.
Whether your phone's broken or old, we've got you. With Verizon, anyone can trade in any phone, any condition. And get iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. And iPad and Apple Watch Series 10, all three on us. That's up to $2,000 in value, only on Verizon.
Hello? At Revolution X, we know that fortunes are made in times of uncertainty. Are you selling your investment real estate? Are you interested in deferring your tax with a 1031 exchange? At RevX, we're experts in 1031 exchange planning and the use of passive real estate options using DSTs. Not in the midst of an exchange and want to invest in real estate but don't know where to start? Revolution X has institutional-grade real estate options for any size investor right now. Set up a consultation at RevXWealth.com. RevX, defer the tax, maximize the gain.
Pride, passion, and persistence. These are the values that drive us all at Ron Jaworski Golf. We strive to deliver outstanding conditions as well as playability for golfers of all ages and abilities. Our championship golf courses offer a variety of challenges, from a link-style walk along the river to an escape into the pines and everything in between. My team at Ron Jaworski Golf is committed to delivering memorable experiences every single day. See all we do at ronjaworskigolf.com.
Most people don't know how to get the care they need. The experts at Stay at Home Care can help. Before choosing a caregiver or family member for your care, you need to apply for the home care program. The application process can be complicated. Stay at Home Care can help you navigate through every step. Once approved, your caregiver or family member will receive guaranteed weekly pay, a variety of medical benefits options, paid holidays, paid vacation, and overtime pay. Call Stay at Home Care, here to help every step of the way.
This upcoming segment is brought to you by Verizon. Lot to get into here in the final segment of the betPARX pregame show from the amazing Parx Casino in Bensalem, just 20 minutes north of Center City, Philadelphia. Brought to you by Pond Lehocky, Marc Farzetta, Eagles Hall of Famer Seth Joyner, and veteran Eagles reporter Derrick Gunn. We've covered a lot so far, and in this final segment, we want to make sure we get in our mid-pen bank players to bank on, predictions for Eagles, Cowboys. I'll take the first crack at this one because I'm going to go ahead.
Say Eagles, Cowboys?
Eagles, Commanders. Sorry, they're just thinking crazy.
You know, you corrected me a few weeks ago, so I jumped on.
Did I really?
Yes.
I see no reason to correct you.
Yes, you do.
I've never seen you wrong.
I correct myself.
I look at this game with the Commanders, and the one player I think we could bank on today, injury, no injury, I'm going to take A.J. Brown off the list because I just see this being, it's a good game for Saquon, and I'm sure one of you guys will mention that. But when it comes to A.J. Brown and what he can bring to the table in this game, I think they have established something that they want to make sure they keep alive and well, and that is the passing game. I'm not saying 290 again for Jalen Hurts today. I'm saying that one receiver in particular, A.J. Brown, will still shine despite Marshawn Lattimore being out there right now in the Commanders' secondary. Derrick Gunn, what are you looking at in this game?
I'm going to go on the opposite side and say Devontae Smith. I believe Washington, especially with Marshawn Lattimore back, are going to try to take A.J. out of the game. I don't know if you can physically take A.J. out of a game, but I do believe they may try to double down on him, and I think this could be a big game for Smitty. I said earlier in this show I thought it would be either Smitty or the tight end position, meaning Calcaterra. I'm going to go with Devontae Smith as far as the standout player of the game.
All right. Seth?
there's a side of me that wants to go over on the defensive side of the ball and grab somebody, man. But, I really like what Jalen Hurts did last week. And I just get the sense that, he's in the mode of, y'all just keep picking at me. Y'all just keep hating on me. You just keep doubting me. And I just want to shove it up your you-know-what every opportunity that I get.
Oh, you're violent today.
And I just get the sense that, this is going to be another one of those games today, man, where he's not only going to damage them with his legs, but I think that, he's going to throw for damn near 300 yards today. I really do. Against a team, and I get it, they rank 4th against the pass, but Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown is unstoppable. And I think once you get him going, now you force teams to adjust to figure out how you take him away. Now you begin to get one-on-ones against Devontae Smith on the other side. And, you get Saquon out of the backfield. You get Calcaterra involved. I just think that this is going to be one of those days because I think that Jalen's in that mode right now where his mindset is to just dominate and make everybody shut up once again.
Now, the big prediction I want you to make, if he does, will he go with the backwards Kango hat again?
I hope so. Let me see. Who else could – he was Nino Brown last week. Who are he going to be this week?
Comparisons of training day as well, Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
Ooh, what was the homeboy's name? The character that Denzel Washington played?
In Training, bro?
Training Day?
Training days? Oh, my goodness. Wait a minute. Oh, my goodness. I should know
I'm blanking as well. If only we had a machine in front of us that knew every answer.
He said, King Kong ain't got on me.
Yeah.
It's gonna take me a while to punch that up, unfortunately.
I'm surprised somebody didn't throw it in the comments here.
Wow.
A bit of a delay.
As many times as I've seen Training Days.
Alonzo Harris. Thank you, Taylor.
Dang.
Appreciate it. Fine producer on site, Taylor. PJ helping out as well. Jim, everyone. It's a group effort here.
Yes,
it's a group effort. All right. On the Jalen Hurts train, I want to mention one more thing with it. When did a lot of the analysts become people that only looked at the numbers as opposed to the way the game is played? Because when you were referencing Josh Allen, Seth, and you were referencing guys like Lamar Jackson, by the way, in the rushing category, it's Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, and then it's Jalen Hurts. So they're all right there in the same category. But when you talk about what Jalen Hurts brings to the table, the all-around weapon factor is something that I think people actually discredit a quarterback for. Because I think what most people want is just a quarterback that's going to consistently drop back, pass, throw accurate passes. But if you have somebody out there that is going to be that all-around weapon for you, including throwing the football, no better example than being able to hit Dallas Goedert like he did to convert on I think it was a 3rd and long play to Dallas Goedert where he actually ended up fumbling the football against the Commanders in Week 11, and then you saw Grant Calcaterra jump on that ball. The 3rd and 7 play to Dallas Goedert against the Ravens when they were able to convert. The 3 and 13 that they had against the Panthers when they needed to keep a drive going. When he needs to dial up that accurate arm, he has done that. And one of the things that has really jumped out to me, and I don't know if you guys have seen the same thing when it comes to Jalen Hurts, it's not just, I've mentioned this many times, looking off the safety or attempting to do it. I'm actually seeing plays where he's going through those progressions and doing it quickly and realizing doesn't like the coverage over there, he'll go to 2 and he'll make that money throw. If you look at the stick nod route that they ran with Grant Calcaterra last week on the first play of the game, his first look was to the left side, Devontae Smith.
Right.
Two defensive backs around him, so then he altered to the stick nod and made the completion. When he wants to push that button, when he wants to say go gadget passing game, he's able to activate that. But the numbers aren't there to back up a lot of what he's doing when you talk about the quantity of when he's doing it or how much he's doing it. But the quality, to me, gentlemen, is what matters most in Jalen Hurts.
Absolutely.
You make so many great points there, and I'll say this. When you talk about the national pundits and how they talk about Jalen Hurts, okay, don't get me wrong for 1 second. I think that Dan Orlovsky does a fantastic job of what he does on ESPN.
I second that.
Okay, but
I agree.
But until you get a quarterback who was a dual threat quarterback to evaluate the game in the manner that Dan Orlovsky does, his viewpoint is always going to be slanted. It's always going to be slanted because that thing that he couldn't do or didn't do, he's not going to give that credibility.
Right.
Because in his mind, a pocket passer, the way that he played the game is the way it's supposed to be played. You know, I love Jaws to death. But Randall was the end of Jaws in Philadelphia. And when you see some of Jaws' commentary, guess what it's against? It's against that same thing that got him out of Philadelphia, Randall's ability to run the football. So when he's breaking down quarterbacks, it's the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times these analysts, especially the quarterbacks, 9 times out of 10, they're pocket passers. And they're breaking the game down from the perspective of how they would play the game and how they think the game should be played. And they leave out some of the most important elements of today's, the new age quarterback. The NFL is moving to a place, guys, where if you can't run and you can't scramble and you can't make plays with your arms outside of the pocket and you can't buy time with your legs, you're not going to be playing quarterback in the National Football League. The pocket passer is dead. The pocket passer is a dinosaur in my mind in today's NFL. And it's just a matter of time before, if you can't do everything, if you can't throw it from the pocket, if you can't throw it on the run, and you can't run and get it done with your legs and make plays that way, you're not going to be able to play in this league.
Fair enough. Absolutely. Hey, before we get into our predictions, I do want to make sure that we hit it one more time when we talk about our giveaways and what's on tap for people to take advantage of when we talk about following Seth Joyner Show on all social media platforms. Got tickets to give away to Eagles-Cowboys. Philly hosting Dallas Sunday on the 29th of December. That's next week, so make sure you guys take advantage of that. 4:25 kickoff. Follow Seth Joyner on all social media platforms to do so. I know I've asked this question of you gentlemen before, and before we get into our predictions, I do want to ask this question. Favorite Christmas gifts that you guys have ever gotten? I remember yours, Seth. I remember yours, but Gunnar, what was yours as a kid? Now, it has to be as a kid.
Okay, when I was a kid, I would say it would have to be the Rock'em Sock'em robots.
You like the Rock'em Sock'em robots?
They'd be on the commercials on TV all day, and I'm like, I want one of those. My parents would tell me, I don't know about that. And sure enough, on Christmas morning, I got one. I played that thing until I broke the head off of one of them, man.
Seth, you're nodding. That was yours too, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
If I remember correctly. So I need help making my prediction, and I'm really just going to make it down. I'm basically going to pick the winner of Rock'em Sock'em Robots here. I think we need to fix.
Wow.
I think we need to fix one of them.
Are you serious? I'm going to go buy one tomorrow.
We can't be cheating here. We can't be cheating. One head's already popped.
I'm buying one tomorrow.
One head's already popped.
Where'd you even find this,
really?
man?
Where'd you find it?
It needs a little finesse. There we go. There we go. This is an original. Just kidding. Oh, here we go. Oh, we got the blue one. We got the red one going here. The blue is represented by. Oh my goodness! And an amazing
That's
upset.
All you need to know.
And an amazing upset.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Your hands can't hit what your eyes can't see.
That's 2 out of 3. See, mine is stuck, man.
Don't be blaming.
I knocked them completely out.
Oh my goodness!
See, I got up from mine. I got up from mine and shook it off. I took a 10 count. He is done.
Man.
Look at him on the lane. He's on the ropes, people.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my! He's out of the ring. He's Joe Louis.
He's out.
He's knocked out of the ring.
Call him medic.
Well, that helps my prediction. That helps my because I was going to pick the blue, and the blue was going to be represented by the Eagles. The red is obviously going to be
You always take your side.
In my opinion, that's the Eagles today.
Man.
It's just a KO punch against the Commanders.
Come on, man.
That went a lot better than I anticipated.
You know what, man? Looking back now, that is such a rudimentary type of toy.
Yeah, with all these video games
I mean, hours for hours, man. I was like entertained with that.
Yeah.
If you gave that to a kid now, they laugh at you.
No, you know what? I'm going to find out because I have 4 grandkids. I'm going to go buy one this week and sit down and play them, see if I can get them. Now the 2 and 3 year old, they're going to be like, I don't want to play this. But I have 1 9 and 1 6. See if I can get them sit down and play.
They're going to be like, Pop, you crazy.
I'm not even kidding. I put that together at my house this morning, and my 5-year-old daughter would not stop playing with it.
Really?
And I said, I'm taking that to the show. That's for Mr. Joyner. I said, that's for Mr. Joyner. You can't play with that right now. She goes, Daddy, I want one. I was like, all right, we'll add it to the list.
Did you buy it at a store?
I bought it at a store.
Okay.
Yes, I did. And the gentleman that had to go to the back for it was very happy to get it for Mr. Seth Joyner.
You know what's amazing, though? You might be right, Mark, because what I've noticed with little kids,
right?
Like we buy them all these high-end toys and whatnot.
Absolutely. Video games.
Yeah, but if you give them a wooden spoon and a pot top, boy, they are just as happy can be.
They're true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to physically have something tangible, not just something they're tapping on the screen.
My 2 and 3 year old grandkids have iPads. iPads. My wife bought all the grandkids iPads last year. Like, why are you buying 2 and 3? They know these iPads better than I do. You should see these kids sitting here swiping and all stuff, and I'm sitting there going, how'd she do that?
Listen,
it's crazy.
I was on the phone with my grandson. He just turned 5 months.
Yeah.
Oof. Just last week.
Yeah.
Okay. So my daughter called. We're like on a video call. And the whole time, he's reaching for the phone.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
at 5 months, he's
Yes.
reaching for the
Yes.
phone. It's amazing,
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
Well, he sees, what are you, Pop Up?
Pop Up.
Pop Up? He sees Pop Up on the phone.
Now, Big Daddy?
No Big Daddy. Pop.
That's before my oldest grandkid was born, my daughters asked me, and my wife sat down and asked me, they said, what do you want your grandchildren to call you? Took me 5 seconds. I said, Big Daddy. They all looked at each other and said, ain't no way in bleak that any of my kids calling you Big Daddy. I was like, come on, you asked me. Why can't I have what I want? I never get what I want in that house.
All right. Well, I picked the Eagles to win this game 24-20. Big Daddy, what are you picking?
31-27. You know, when you look at Washington's 9 wins, they don't have a quality win when you think about it. They lost to Tampa Bay. They lost to the Ravens. They lost to the Eagles. Cowboys they lost to. That was a fluke. But their 9 wins are against the Giants, the Bengals, the Cardinals, the Browns, the Panthers, the Bears, the Giants again, and then the Titans and the Saints. So I don't care if you're playing it in your backyard today. It's going to be a better game because Jaden Daniels is healthy. I think the Eagles come out on top. They wrap up the division 31-27.
31-27.
Yep.
Seth Joyner.
You know, this is a dangerous Washington team, and I think that they can taste playoffs. It's on the tip of their tongue, and Dan Quinn has done a phenomenal job with this football team. But the fact of the matter is the Philadelphia Eagles are flat out just a better team. I believe that they're better coached. I believe the roster's better. I think there's more talent on this team, and I think their mindset is in the proper place. I just don't see any way that the Eagles lose this game. I really don't. You know, just their mindset and how they've approached things over the last couple of weeks and everything that they've been through. They're not only battle-tested on the field, but they've been tested mentally and psychologically off the field by the media. And I just don't sense that they're going to go down. You know, sometimes people talk about, you know, a letdown game or trap game or whatever that nonsense is that people talk. You still got to play the game. And when somebody's trying to take your damn head off, trap, or, you know, looking past somebody, that goes out of the window real quick. I just think that the Eagles dominate this game in every way, every shape, every fashion today, just to keep things moving in the right direction. Because contrary to popular belief, they have not played their best football yet. I think this team is rising, and I think it's peaking when it needs to peak. Like Detroit, I feel like they already peaked. Like when they were beating people, putting 50 points up on the board and nonsense, like I felt like they already peaked. Then you throw in the injuries and whatnot, yeah, you got to say they've already peaked. I think the Eagles have had a precipitous climb. They started the year 2-2, went to the bye, so much hubbub around them. They come out, they run off 10 in a row, and they still haven't played their best game. They've still been under fire as far as just as early as last week. Oh, this team is great. Saquon is carrying the team. The offensive line is carrying the team. If anything's going to hold this team back, it's going to be Jalen Hurts. Well, Jalen goes out and puts all that to rest. So now, the passing game can get better. As good as the defense is, number one across the board, I think they're just scratching the surface of how good they can really be. And the more confident they get, the more dominant they're going to become. Eagles dominate this game, because I think they're locked in on the prize and what they really want to accomplish, and that's getting to New Orleans and closing the deal. Give me the Birds, 32-17.
32-17, bing, bang, boom. Thanks for watching the betPARX pregame show presented by Pond Lehocky.
Let's go eat.
I'm Marc Farzetta. That's Big Daddy.
I'm hungry, man.
That's Pop Up.
Big Daddy hungry.
And that's a dead red.
I'm buying me one of those.
Rock'em Sock'em robot right there. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Go Birds.